What if I told you that the secret to becoming a great content creator wasn't originality, but strategic imitation? Today, I'm sitting down with Codie Sanchez to unpack why most content creators stay stuck and don't grow on YouTube. The reason why is because they do not understand the imitation paradox. Even Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, understood this powerful principle when he quoted Pablo Picasso saying this.
Picasso had a saying, he said, good artists copy, great artists steal. And we have, always been shameless about stealing great ideas.
Good artists copy, great artists steal. And this isn't just some clever quote. It's the hidden blueprint behind nearly every successful creator's journey. The imitation paradox is the counterintuitive truth that mastery begins with imitating others' work. True originality emerges only after you've mastered the fundamentals through imitation. And I've experienced the power of the imitation paradox myself after getting 3 silver play buttons and a gold YouTube play button for reaching over 1 million subscribers. The turning point was understanding the power of modeling the masters and doing it in a strategic way. But that's not the only topic that we're going to cover in today's episode of the Think Media podcast. What you're about to hear is an exclusive VIP Q&A session that I hosted with Codie Sanchez, which if you never met her before, she's got millions of followers across social media. She's a prolific entrepreneur and business builder, but she also has over 1.7 million subscribers on YouTube. And in our conversation, we cover the powerful 3-step formula that transformed her businesses that we can all apply to our content creation. How to know exactly when to differentiate yourself in a crowded market. 5 game-changing tips for hiring and building a high-performance team. Plus even more insights from the questions that the incredible individuals that attended our event asked. And hey, if you want to get on the waiting list for our next Grow With Video Live event happening in Las Vegas, just go to growwithvideolive.com or click the link in the podcast show notes. Whether you're scaling a business or growing your content platform, Codie's frameworks and the content in this episode are going to provide the blueprint. Let's dive in. And can we just give it up for Codie Sanchez as she comes? All right, go ahead, take it away. What's your name? What do you do? What's your question?
All right, my name is Megan Boson at The Passionate Pro on YouTube. And Codie, so great to hear you. I've been following you for a little bit here. We have similar journeys. So I've been in corporate America for 20 years, became an executive leader 10 years in, and I've been doing that for the past, obviously, 10 years. So I'm a vice president at a Fortune 500. I really love that because it matters, because I'm a Black woman, so that's kind of a big deal. Y'all should clap for that. But in that, there are so many people that hate what they do. And so my channel is dedicated to helping people link their passion to their profession, whatever that means. People come up to me, they're like, oh, I want to be promoted. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't even like living here or working here. Like, let's figure out something else. My challenge is this. When I'm looking at who is already out there, it's these 21-year-old life coaches and career coaches who don't have any idea what they're talking about and have never worked in the environment. How can I think about looking at how I play in the space and how I make sure that I'm setting myself aside and different from those?
Yeah, good question. So I have a framework that I call imitate, iterate, then innovate. And so one thing we can learn from the poor 21-year-old life coaches, which now all hate me, is that they are so much more tech and social media native than we are. They breathe this in the same way that the next generation that understands AI is going to make us look inefficient and about as good as our parents are at handling a new Apple update, right? And so I like to imitate first the things that I see from a format perspective from people who are crushing it, who are younger. And so I think, if you're trying to carve out your unique space, I think you start by saying, whoa, this video is super viral. I need to understand why. Why is this video so viral? Why is this doing so well? Once I understand why it's doing so well, I want to imitate it with grace and appropriateness. You're not trying to steal somebody's content, but if somebody is going super viral talking about chicken coops, right? And you're talking about being a corporate executive, you might take their song, you might take the words that are in the thumbnail or the title, you might take the first 30 or 60 seconds. And when they go, you'll never guess how much money I made with this chicken coop, you might then say, you'll never guess how much money I made from negotiating my salary. And then they might go, here's this tiny little hack on how to build it for $50. And then you might go, here's this tiny little hack that changed everything for me. So you are imitating their frame, but in a way that is totally native to yourself. So I would start with imitation. Then I would go for iteration. So iteration is like, okay, I understand why they went viral. I understand how viral videos could work for me now. Now, how could I iterate on it so it's slightly my own? So instead of them standing in front of the chicken coop and you standing in front of your boss, like looking mad, you have a second version that's like slightly different. It puts your unique frame on it. And only after you've become a master imitator, a master iterator, do I completely innovate, which is like, let's do a video with 50 people about how to negotiate your salary in order to make more money. And the one who negotiates their salary highest gets a prize, And so that's how I would think about it. But really cool niche, and congratulations on your success. So nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Well, we started hot there. There's a 3-part framework. That was some tactics. That was amazing. You, sir.
My name is Ryan Stoltzfus. I'm a career coach. I help directors of ops and directors of engineering to build their brand and grow their impact. As I think about my business 3 years in, I'm thinking future forward always. No, I don't know if I'm going to sell my business in the future, but I still want to be giving myself room for that potentially in the future. So any pieces of advice, and kind of what you were talking about, building personal brand versus building a company brand, I think plays into this pretty heavily too. But any advice, thinking some years, 5, 10 years in the future, what can I do now to make it more acquisition friendly?
Yeah. Couple things. One, I like to steal people's homework. And so not that dissimilar of a response, really. If you right now are, say in one sentence exactly what you do.
I help directors of operations to build their brand and grow their impact.
Okay. If I helped directors of operations?
Yes.
Directors of operations build their brand. If that was my one line, I would probably try to find somebody who had a company that was similar to it that had sold before. And so I don't know one in that exact niche, but I might go to Traction. Gino Wickman. Gino Wickman sold the Traction software, which was essentially how to scale businesses, right? I'm sure you guys know Traction. EOS is the software.
The book Rocket Fuel.
Right. So he turned a personal brand where he talked about something structural, systematic ideas into software and systems that he sold, right? And he probably sold it in three realms. He probably sold the consulting business. So, hey, I have reoccurring revenue consulting clients that are paying me right now. He would get a higher multiple on it if those consulting clients were corporations as opposed to individuals. So that could be one unique angle. Then he had another one, which is I have info products. I actually don't know if he sold this, but I have books that have reoccurring revenue based on royalties and licensing that people might do for my books. Okay, second part. And then third part would be that I have a software. So I've realized that I have a system that helps director of ops every single time build their brand. Here's my system and process. Let's put it into a software and then let's sell that software. Royalties highest multiple valuation. Secondary is SaaS, actually after royalties. And third would be his info products. And fourth would be consulting. And so when you guys are thinking about your business and how to sell it, you have to understand how many businesses do you actually have? You probably have more than you anticipate. You have multiple revenue lines that could be independent centers of gravity. And so when you're thinking about this now, go steal somebody's homework. Look at how he built out his business. The best value somebody could ever give you is their org chart. And their holdco org chart, because then you can see if every business is comprised predominantly of an idea plus a person that executes on that idea. Obviously, typically we can see what the idea is. Gino sells consulting software ideas, right? But we don't actually know how he built that underlying. How do we know how he builds the underlying? We see the people underneath him who actually comprise the execution of the idea. And so that's what I would do.
Can I steal real quick to the room? If anybody in the room has built a SaaS product, Can I network with you specifically? because I have a huge desire to do that and have no idea how. Can we talk later?
She's built too.
Okay, thank you so much.
Amazing. Give it up.
Love that.
You, sir.
Absolutely. Ty Carter, Atlanta. So this is for Sean and Codie, and I'm here with the Passionate Pro podcast. I've met a lot of people in here today, and the last 2 days, and it seems like everybody's building a team. So I'm curious from Sean and from Codie, what is the one thing that you look for when you're hiring a person? Is it one rule you go by? Because again, having the right team can make your brand or break your brand.
Yeah, we've got a great question. We hire according to the 5 C's for us. Character, it's got to be foundational. If you don't pass the character test, you shouldn't ever hire that person. Then chemistry, this is going to be, do you fit here? They could be an incredible person. They might not fit here. We have 7 core values that would define kind of our culture. And also, do we just kind of want to hang and vibe with you? You get to decide the vibe of your company. Then competency, you got to be good at what you do. And when you're just starting out, I think you also have to decide if you're building bottom up or top down. And I think if you're in this room hustling, kind of startup and finances are low, you have to have kind of that scrappy bottom up mentality. One of the most valuable parts of my experience was being a youth pastor and in ministry. John Maxwell, leadership expert, says that is actually the strongest place to grow as a leader, because you have to motivate people without being able to pay people. So you have to be good at being able to cast vision, cast mission. And when you're building bottom up, that's a lot of what it is maybe like one of the first people that helped us grow Think Media. I was like, so here's the thing. I can't pay you at this exact moment, but I will give you this % of this thing we will create together. And if it fails, then that would be 0. But if it does this, you'll get this. And she was like, yes. She was an entrepreneur that was like, let's do it. And so that's different than it is now. Eventually it might be top down. So you got to decide, do I have the money to hire top down and maybe hire somebody that already has the competency or the expertise? Because I believe those things could grow with you. And then finally, we would say capacity. I think in a 2024 world, just getting it done is not enough. You got to be able to get it done quickly and continue to go faster. AI, meaning just, can you be efficient? Can you be productive? That's cool. You made like a video an entire week, a 60-second short. Bro, that's not going to cut it, man. We need like 5 shorts a day. Like this is the, 2024. And so a level of speed and increasing speed. And then finally for us to be courage. Are you just willing to take bold risks? Are you willing to step out? And also being courageous for us to be like having crucial conversations, the courage to apologize, the courage to do some of those things that are a culture value for us. So that's the 5 C's. We have our core values. That was a lot, but I can't wait to hear what Codie would say.
Honestly, that was so good. I'm going to steal all 5 C's. And then I'm going to say they were mine. No, just kidding. I'll shut you out. What would I add to that? Honestly, there's probably not much I would add there. I would take his framework and I would only add hire before you think you're ready. And when you fuck up your first hire, because you probably will, don't stop hiring. Because that's usually what happens. People make their first hire, that doesn't go well. Neither did your first date. So, don't stress too much about it, and make sure that you keep hiring, because the only way you can build a business is with other people. And so I would apply a framework like his. I would hire probably sooner than you feel like you're ready. And I would continue to hire even when you mess up at it, as long as you, with empathy, move the people along that are not supposed to be on your mission and are a fit.
Thank you.
Great question.
Hey, my name's Alex Montalenti. So my question's on niche versus mass appeal. And to give you a little background, my mom was a realtor. I got in the business 23 years ago, saw how non-tech savvy she was and how much I could help her. So now we help realtors that are not tech savvy with their digital presence. And we invented a digital business card that's a video-enabled digital card. So what happened is we built it really deep in the real estate space. So this applies to both business and YouTube channel. Is like I hear you talk about niche versus mass appeal. I have all these people that want the card, but I serve this real estate industry. There's 10 billion paper cards printed every year. We've got 1 million digital. So I'm debating from a point of view of exit as well as a point of view of mass appeal on social and YouTube. Do I stay niche real estate, or do I open myself up to the whole world? What are your thoughts?
I have quick thoughts, and I'd love to hear you too. My quick thoughts would be, typically we think that we have saturated our niche before we've actually been anywhere near saturating our niche. And so look yourself in the mirror honestly and say, are we happy with the penetration we have in this market right now, or we uniquely know how to serve them? And if the answer is no, then I would go deeper to that market unless you feel like the market isn't working. If you're like, this isn't actually working, we have some sort of product market fit flaw, then one of the product market fit issues could be the market, not the product is the fit. In which case, all you need to do is pivot to another audience. And you're like, oh, it's actually not realtors that need it. It is, and I didn't even realize that we're not having to sell this thing because the thing is uniquely situated to fix their pain. So I would ask yourself those two questions. And then the last thing I would say is, I like tiny experiments that don't have a serious impact on me if they go sideways. And so instead of like jumping in entirely to a new market, you might say, well, we kind of want to beta test with, right now we mostly sell to realtors in residential. What happens if we go to commercial? How could I test that where it would be easy, cheap, and a fast feedback loop? And then I might test that. And then I might say, okay, that really didn't have a material difference from any other segment. So let me test a different segment, which might actually be, I don't know, real estate property managers, and I might test the exact same thing. But at first I would ask, have I saturated my market fully? Am I happy with it? Am I pivoting because there is a pain and I feel like we don't have product market fit? And then finally, how can I experiment to see if there's a market in which we have better PMF?
I work for Messenger International. I'm running John Bevere's channel, Lisa, and all of those. So our main content is courses, sermons, and podcasts. Some people that we're working closely with as we're using long form content every week or bi-weekly, the filler days, we have shorts going out to funnel and lead people to the long form. We've had some people share that that's actually not healthy to do on a channel and instead should create a separate clips channel. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that because it's something new for me, but I didn't know if that's a new shift.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a major debate. One side is saying right now that shorts have kind of ruined YouTube. Kind of an extreme statement, but the reality is YouTube is pushing so hard to battle with TikTok that they're pushing shorts, and it's taking up a lot of real estate on the homepage. So even some people are feeling like my long form views are down, and the reason is just because there's less exposure because the platform is fighting on these two different formats. Some people say I started posting shorts and my views on my content went down and it hurt my channel. I think you have to look really deep on that because it also could just be a supply and demand thing right now. You were talking about attention. The Rock is taking attention. Trump is taking attention. So it's like attention's a lot of places. But on the flip side, one of the things I'm banking on is that YouTube is going to figure it out. So if they want me to post shorts and they want me to post long form and they say they want it on the same channel, I really do believe they're going to figure. They might not, but like they're in it to win it. They got a lot of developers behind this. They want this thing to work. And I think that I wouldn't go a separate clips channel or separate shorts channel unless you've hit velocity. Now you guys are big, but I mean, Joe Rogan should have JRE clips, but Joe Rogan, there was they had revealed on Spotify this little thing of how many monthly listeners just on Spotify. And it was something like 14 million maybe per episode or something like that for the Joe Rogan show just on Spotify. If you're at a big space, then clips maybe might make sense off of one channel. But here would be my final piece of advice. And I'm curious if you've seen different formats hurt or help. I do think that if you're starting from scratch and you're growing, and even if we're almost at 200,000 on our podcast channel that we launched. We're trying to build all the momentum on the same channel. And so we're posting shorts on the channel, clips on the channel, and the long form videos on the channel. So it's just a few things to try to decide with maybe where are you at. And maybe the final thing, one of the people that help us is an agency called Social Media Money. They work with like Graham Stephan and whatnot. Josh is here at the conference and he works for like Graham Stephan. They will test a lot of their vertical and shorts elsewhere. They use TikTok as testing. They use Meta, Facebook as testing. And they actually just put the best of the best on YouTube. So we're constantly evaluating, like, should we just pump everything on YouTube? Should we actually slow down on the clips, speed up? And my friend Lewis Howes was talking about like, when they started posting less clips and got the right cadence, views did increase kind of based on videos hitting browse features. I'm getting kind of geeky here, but having space between uploads. So even in our framework, we talk about the review R. It's an ongoing process of being willing to maybe do a week-long or a month-long experience, upload the shorts and clips, then maybe change something and then see what you can observe for the next 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and bank on this one thing. This stuff will change constantly. Algorithms will change. But for where you guys are at, knowing the channel, I would build all the momentum on the one channel for now.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I'll only add one line, which is businesses are usually constrained by the amount of smart people that they have. And so I think you need to ask yourself, how many smart people do we have, and can we give the attention that is necessary to multiple channels at this moment? If you can have an A/B test of 2 different channels with an incredibly smart person who's talented and has the time and capacity over here, and an incredibly smart person with time and capacity over here, you can A/B test this idea. You can also A/B test content. You can also A/B test 2 people. But what I've found is it's not just a question of what is YouTube doing, but what is your team's capacity for it? You know, Mr. Beast can have multiple channels all over the place because he's got a really big team of a bunch of smart people who can be complete specialists into one thing as opposed to distracted generalists across many. So ask yourself a capacity question too.
Thank you.
All right. So just real quick, was listening actually to your podcast by Graham Stephan before you got here. Just so you know, I'm a big fangirl. So just wanted to say great. And thanks for the Carol Dweck mindset recommendation on the book. So my name is Stephen Corson. I am ex-corporate, kind of like you, going up the ladder, and kind of fired myself from that. Now I do lifestyle design and personal finance coaching for high performers and entrepreneurs. So my question is, when you were talking earlier, you were talking about how you literally gave your avatar a name. And that's something I'm really trying to get specific on. Could you break down a little bit on what that process was like that you went to get to the 30-year-old dude named Bob or whatever it was? Because I feel like that would really help as I'm messaging, pick your platform, whether it's angry teenager on whatever, you get it.
John, tell us about John.
Yeah. Well, this comes from the idea of, I started off as a writer. I think where I am most talented is actually writing, and the writing sort of infuses its way to video and other platforms. But my first love has always been writing. And so when you write, the biggest thing that bothers me about how most people write, especially because most of us are taught some sort of corporate or business writing, is you would never write a love letter to whom it may concern. And yet we write love letters at the end that say best wishes and sincerely to our people. And so when I think about an avatar, I think about it the same way. How would I speak to, text, and call a friend of mine if they were watching the YouTube channel? And so when I thought about working John, I thought, okay, I need to build a visual. And I actually have a human, his name isn't John, but that I think about, who is the avatar I am actually talking to. It is a real human. And I know that they listen to varying media outlets. So I listed those media outlets. Like, I think they read this newsletter. I think they watch this podcast. I think they're likely to have a copy of Monocle. I think they hate this group. I think this influencer actually annoys the hell out of them. I'm like that specific about who they are. And then because I now know what other media centers they listen to, I can mimic some of the verbiage and the way that those media centers speak to them, because I know that they're already listening to those. So I get to sort of, integrate their homework into it. The next thing I thought about was we created something called How to Speak Like a Contrarian. And the How to Speak Like a Contrarian is a Word doc that basically has a bunch of do's and don'ts in them. And it shows people through case study, don't use these words, do use these words. Read what you are going to script out before you film a video on it. And so a lot of times, this happens with my team, they'll send me something and I'll say, I want you to read this out loud to this other person. And so they'll look across the way at each other and then they'll go, I'm really excited to launch this new business course today. Are you excited also for a new life? And you're like, would you ever say that to anybody? I'm going to make you film it and post it on your social channels. And so being that straightforward with yourself about like, okay, if I actually truly believe that the things that I create, which I do, need to get in the hands of my human, I want to name them. I want to frame where else they listen. You can do all the demographic stuff, but if you have a real human, you don't need any of that. You're not like, he's 24 to 48. You're like, what? Who's a 24 to 48-year-old? I've never met one of those. These things don't make any sense to me. And so it's a real person. I know where they watch other stuff. I know where they consume other things. And then before I write something to them, I'm going to say it out loud. And in the beginning, even because this is a friend of mine who's in media too, I would call him and be like, I'm just going to say some stuff and I want you to react. And like, you know, he would say really inappropriate things back to me. Like, I don't think you're allowed to say this anymore, but he would be like, well, that's gay. And I'd be like, you can't say that out loud. And then I go, oh, he's kind of inappropriate. And like those real human things are things that we have lost in the media because we are so afraid of offending somebody. And yet, if you guys need to know it, this guy's gay. And so, you know, like which really doesn't matter one way or the other. And yet, like, if you can't talk like that to a human, then you're never going to have a deep connection. You know, if I can't make fun as a Latina that the fact that I think the word Latinx was made up by a bunch of white people in Berkeley, then like no Latinos are going to connect with me. Who's here a Latino that's like, or, yeah, right? Yeah, it was. Vamos, I mean, tú vas a hablar con un Latino como Latinx. Ellos go, ¿qué? ¿Qué? No. And so, like, that's what your people are looking for. They want to know that you're real and that you're really talking to them.
That's one of my
good. Give it up for that.
Best.
Hi, my name is Rena Hedeman. 15 years ago, I became a certified career and life coach, and then I pivoted about 10 years ago to helping women at midlife transition create their next chapter. And then on YouTube, and in my coaching business, sorry, I'm so starstruck here.
You're doing great.
I renamed my business Thrive After 45. And then on YouTube, that sort of pivoted again without my planning it to, but I'm happy it has, because I put out a couple of videos on my own personal experience with perimenopause and how I didn't know anything. This was a while back. And wow, the viewers started coming and coming and coming. And then since then, I've done more. And I've been very blunt. And thanks to VRA Elite and my amazing family there, I've gotten a lot of suggestions to just be really real, really open up and just a little TMI perhaps. And that video for my little teeny channel has grown to 230,000 views.
That's
and
amazing.
I realized there is a need out there. I don't want to coach one-to-one anymore. I'm tired of that. It's exhausting. I want to scale my business. And I've heard this before, but what you said today, somehow the way you said it, don't rely on YouTube. You've got to be monetizing in other ways. You have to have your business. I'm not sure right now. So my question is, if you were me, I'm almost 60. Not that that should limit me, of course, but what business would you choose from where I am now going forward?
I'm going to say something you might not like, which is, you already know the answer. All of us already do. Nobody is ever going to give you better advice for the big, deep questions in your life than yourself. And so I heard it in your voice. You were like, hey, guys, does she want to do one-on-one consulting anymore? So I could tell you what not to do. But the next step from that is also, don't tell me what your goals are. Tell me what you're willing to do to get to your goal. And so if what you want is to no longer coach one-on-one people, give yourself some sacrifices. In order to do that, I will take X amount of clients for one-on-one consulting, and I will pour every single dollar into Y that will get me to the place that I want to be. And when you start setting what you're willing to sacrifice for what you're willing to get, the universe kind of goes, okay, I see you. And then you start making real progress. I think most of our desires die at the altar of what I want, but I'm not willing. And so ask yourself that question, and it sounds like you kind of already know the answer. I'm excited to see your journey. I think it's a really important topic for this next state. I mean, this is like so fun for all the guys in the room. I'm like, let's talk menstruation.
The guys need to know about perimenopause and menopause, because trust me, it is going to affect your partner at some point if it hasn't already.
My husband knows. But the thing is that I think it's a really cool topic. You seem really passionate about it. When people are passionate about it, they know a lot about it. They have a lived experience. They're super curious and they're willing to do the work. Some type of magic happens. I'm excited to see your journey.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Codie. Codie, I'm such a big fan, so I'm super happy to be here. My name is Jasmine. I'm a tax strategist and an agent of the IRS. I predominantly serve... No, I promise, I'm on your side.
Really important. Really important.
Yeah, I'm on your side. I predominantly help creators and entrepreneurs with tax planning and financial literacy. I've recently found some success with working with Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington on pushing my mission forward of teaching. The part that I struggle with is being a woman in a mainly male-dominated industry. So I wanted to know your opinion on how you battle that or like address that as also a woman in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah. You want to know my real opinion?
Yes.
I think the words that you say matter. So when you say, I struggle as a woman in a male-dominated industry, what do you think the universe gives back?
Struggle.
When you say it's awesome to be the only woman in this industry because every Tom, Dick, and Larry in a blue suit doesn't get remembered, but I do, what does the universe give you? Something a little bit different. And so I actually think we were sold so many bags of lies that because we are, think about it for a second. The melanin in our skin is the most interesting thing about us. The fact that I have a different anatomical part, I think, than you do, is the most interesting thing about us. Who I choose to have sex with is the most interesting thing about us. What a sad existence, if that's true. What a sad existence. You are so much more than a woman. You are a builder. You are a builder. And I actually don't care at all what anybody's skin color is, what their ethnic background is, what their religion is. I care about, are you a builder or are you a burn it downer? And anything else, I don't care. So what I would say is I was in finance, and don't get me wrong, this isn't to say that there aren't annoyances when you are the small guy, the uncommon, the newest in a sea of sameness. There is. But how does iron get sharp? It gets sharpened by more iron. And so maybe this thing that you think is annoying is actually the best thing that could ever happen to you. And what would your life feel like if you thought that way? Do you think you'd be thinking that more things are possible and you could do more because of it? And I would challenge you to do that because I spent 15 years in finance. I got my ass slapped. I got played around with the boys. I got couldn't go to the 19th hole for golf. But the thing is, I've met very few men ever that actually want to, woman, nope, gatekeeping her. This is a fallacy. This is a fallacy in a bag of lies. And there are a few of them for sure, just like there are a few women that are like, no dudes allowed here, haven't left sixth grade, But in actuality, we all want to help each other out. And let me you up a little bit. You have chromosomes that both males and females have, and so does he. And so we all have a lot more in common than we have differently. So I would say go, be you, and crush it. And never again label yourself as your sex in an industry again. You are so much more than that.
Thank you so much.
All right, come on. Can we give it up for Codie Sanchez? Thank you to all the questions. Hey, if you've been enjoying this conversation with Codie Sanchez and you've been thinking about starting or growing a YouTube channel this year, then I want to give you a heads up that for a limited time, I'm giving away copies of my book, YouTube Secrets, for free. All you got to do is go to ytsecrets.com or click the link in the show notes, enter your information and where you want me to mail you the book. And if you cover shipping, that's all I ask, then I will get the book in the mail to you right away. This book is actually brand new and updated with 90 new pages. The second edition, we added some new chapters for some of the biggest changes that are happening on YouTube. Plus, it covers the foundational 7-step framework for starting, growing, getting subscribers, getting views. And I think you're going to absolutely love it. So if you go to ytsecrets.com, you can take advantage of this limited time offer. And also, if you got value out of today's episode, it means the world if you like, rate, share, review wherever you watch or listen to the Think Media podcast. You can also check out Codie's resources in the description. And until next time, my name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. This is the Think Media podcast, and I will catch you in a future episode.